Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Great, thank you.
Come on forward to the podium here. Welcome, and we're going to turn things over to you, and then after you're finished, we may have some questions for you. And then at the end of each day, we deliberate, and then we'll send you a notice in the mail about 2 to 3 weeks' time of the decision, so.
I appreciate that. Appreciate the opportunity to address y'all.
Yes, sir.
It's been my pleasure, and I had the reason I'm here, I really hadn't questioned my land assessment in previous years because I just thought it was right. And we have an issue going on our property next door, and looking at the assessments, the land assessments, I got questioning, why is mine in the same area as that one? And then when I looked at it closer, I see this is not the true reflection of the property. It shows 100 feet on the road and 100 feet at the river's edge. That's not the case at all. It's never been the case. And I've got a drawing that I had. May I approach?
Sure, oh, yeah.
I had the
74 feet?
So when we bought this, this was originally 2 parcels.
Uh-huh,
This has a driveway easement, which reflects on drawing there,
okay.
to come down the middle of the property
Uh-huh,
to a point, and then it tapers, because we had our house back here, so there's 25-foot setback here. There's a porch on this other house, so they went 25 feet off there, whereas I likely say got the garden hose to taper it down through, so you only have 74 feet plus or minus here.
okay.
So what makes this property so invaluable is a couple of things. The driveway easement,
Right,
I mean, we have probably 25 feet on either side driveway easement. That comes down the bulk of the property. Here's where it turns off.
okay.
That's the mark where the easement comes over to here. I'm not exactly sure the distance there. And then the property was a house and a guest cottage, and the well services both houses and still does.
Okay. So you got
So
a shared well.
as far as being, if somebody coming down wanting to buy a piece of property on Craft Point Road, this is the least likely of any of them to buy because of all those negatives.
Right,
So you got this easement coming this way, you got 25-foot side setbacks.
right,
So to go forward, to improve our house forward, is gonna have to be parallel to this property line to keep the 25 feet off. And then that only gives you on 74 feet, if you wanna build forward, it
20
only gives you a 24
feet to deal with, yeah.
And now, it's a negative, it's not on our property, but now the neighbor has come in and installed a 6-foot tall wooden fence with the ugly side facing us.
Mm,
It's about 1,000 foot long. And we're in some sort of litigation with that.
right.
Well, not with that, we've got other issues with
Good
that.
gracious.
But for that reason, I'm thinking this property, I don't know how they assessed it. I'm assuming they looked at 2 acres, it's riverfront, X figures how much it comes to.
Right,
So I don't know when this changed, because when we first bought this back in, I think it was '88, I came down and raised those questions then, so I don't know when this was altered for the assessment. But if it's 100 foot wide to the river, it's substantially more valuable for a purchaser.
Sure.
So I'm thinking as far as marketability, basically, I've only got one buyer, and that would be two buyers.
One neighbor to your side.
Yeah,
Yep.
because it's so narrow, and on Craft Point, anybody that's looking on Craft Point, not gonna be interested.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point, that's why I'm questioning the value of the property.
Gotcha. One thing I would recommend after this, go over to the land records office, the clerk's office at the new courthouse building.
Okay.
When you go in the front door, take your immediate first right,
Okay.
and have them assist you in pulling what survey they have on record, because it may have been an old survey that showed 100 feet of frontage, and so,
It would have never shown 100 feet of frontage, because, well, it was when we bought it from Bob Gray,
okay,
and this is back when he was getting into real estate.
right,
So he came in and bought that property next to the big property, the Nova property.
mm-hmm,
And so he bought all that and subdivided that. So at the time, he's the one, that was one parcel, I think. And he's the one that came down and to split it off to be able to sell both parcels. So it would have never been in the record as 100 foot wide.
okay. I misunderstood you. I thought you said that you were under the impression it was 100 foot wide that you were getting taxed on.
Yes, based on the rectangular, it's not showing any deviation.
Right.
25 feet. Where we lost the 25 feet.
Right. And although the GIS system, it's not 100% accurate, it gives a portrayal, but I still would go over to the clerk's office
Yes.
to make sure that what they have is actually what you have on file in case there's any inaccuracies that need to be corrected. But,
And would, I guess the question would be, I guess maybe the question to them, is there any residual? I mean, this area's been there for, I don't know how long.
Right.
It's been overtaxed for I don't know how long.
yeah, and that would be a question to them. They may have the same dimensions you have there. And again, this isn't an actual survey, it's just an overlay of what the general map looks like. But we need to make sure that what we're looking at tax-wise isn't any more than what's accurate there of 74 feet on the waterfront side, so.
I appreciate that.
Do y'all have any more questions from the board?
Did you ever go before the assessor to talk about it? Is this your first time
No.
disputing
When we
anything?
first bought it, it was kind of hilarious. When we bought it back in, I'd say 88, and we just knew down here, and I laugh and say the assessment was 54,000. It's 79,500 we paid for. So, yes. So, my wife's a realtor. So that year, they came out with the assessments, and it was, went up to 150,000. So the 300% increase. Hello. So I sent my wife down, and I said, you're the realtor. And they had some concerns, and she took some offense to it. So it's a reason to come down here and question it. I said, I laughed, we the only ones stupid enough to buy this property. It had been on the market for a couple of months.
Right.
And I was convinced the next person that looked at it, when we bought it, was gonna buy it. We looked at it in April, we came back, and it was still quote unquote on the market. So that was my argument, and I said, here's the reason why. You got this driveway easement down the middle, so you really can't do anything. I mean, there's really, what you got is what you got.
Right.
Right.
As far as moving back towards the road, you're limited in what you can build based on that driveway easement.
Mhm.
And you've got the well easement servicing both houses. Just, it works perfect for me,
Right.
but as far as somebody coming in on that road, wanting to buy that little narrow strip of land, I I don't think there's a market for it.
Right.
Any other questions I can answer?
I don't believe so.
You feel I've answered whatever question?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the opportunity
Sure.
to address this. I appreciate it more than
Oh, yeah, and like I said, in about 2-3 weeks' time, you'll get a letter from us about the decision today,
I
so.
appreciate it so much.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does he know how to get next door, I guess?
All right, let's see. Mr. Blau?
Yes,
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Well, welcome this morning.
Beautiful morning this morning. I've got 5 copies of
Super,
kind of summary of my comments I want to make.
super.
In that out here.
I can give you 3.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Well, I'm Dan Belial. I'm a resident of 51 The Green, a little HOA over by the Tides. And I'm the current president of the board of our HOA. And the board discussed the issue of the reassessment, and particularly Bruce Julian, who is a resident, the information that he put together, which he shared with you in March.
Right.
And so I'm really here as a representative of the board and therefore the community to support the findings that Bruce presented to you, and sort of to make sure that you know that we all are of the same mind on the issues that he brought up. And again, the thought was we should have someone representing the community to say, yes, we all agree that this is information we'd like you to look at. So that's why I'm here this morning.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessary, nor do I think you want me to reiterate everything that was in his, but I have sort of a summary of the comments I would want to make. But before I do that, I want to thank you for your service, for this opportunity. First time I've ever appealed an assessment, if you will, and so it's nice to see the process working, and thank you for your time. And the other thing is to say, we, the community, we're not, the point is not that we feel we're paying too much in taxes. It's just the process or the method that was used doesn't seem appropriate to us. So the main points then that Bruce made, and I would like to reiterate, is the green, we have 24 units, 8.37 acres, and all of the land is owned by the association. The land underneath each of the units is owned by the association, so a unit owner only owns the unit. In looking at the assessment, we see there were 22 different assessments made relating to the land. Identical units had different assessed values. By the way, the 24 units are, as you may recall, are represented by 12 buildings, so they're each is a duplex. There are only 4 different floor plans within the 24 units, so there are a lot of similarities. Identical units were increased at different rates. The same connected units had different land values, so building 3A was different than building 3B. Individual unit assessments increased widely, ranging from a 25% increase on one to a 74% increase on the other. In terms of the value of the units, only one of the 24 units had, well, let me back up. So there were 12 sales, recent sales of units over the last number of years, and only one of the 24 units exceeded the assessed value. So it certainly seemed like just the units themselves had problems with the assessments. The assessed value included improvement features that do not exist. There was an item on there for a bulkhead. We no longer have a bulkhead. And also, the value of certain improvements on the common area, which are equally owned by all, were assigned to individual owners. For example, I'm a good example that my particular property has the tool shed on it, and I think also the pump house as well. Those are the two structures that we have on the property, and they're on my individual assessment. Relating to adjacent properties, Bruce did a lot of research here, and came up with 14 adjacent properties. They had an average per acre assessment of $53,000 an acre. Our average assessment is $365,000 an acre. He took a look at the way a couple of other homeowner associations that are somewhat similar to ours, how they're assessed. The harbor at Indian Creek, their land was shared equally among the 14 owners. Their assessed land value is $187,000 an acre. Sloop Point Community Association, same thing there. Their land value is shared equally amongst the owners. Their assessed land value, $104,000 per acre. And then you come to us, we have 22 different values assigned. Our assessed land value is twice that of the harbor and 3.6 times that of Sloop Point. So, in essence, what we're asking the board to do is to reassess the land values and then distribute it equally amongst the 24 owners. We ask that the assessment of the units themselves be redone and reevaluated, as it certainly doesn't seem like the process worked when we have all the different values for identical units. And lastly, to correct what we think is a mistake on the improvements being a bulkhead, which doesn't exist anymore, as well as taking those improvements, those couple of structures I mentioned, and rolling that up into a number that's spread equally amongst the 24 owners. So that's, those are my comments and my requests, and open to questions. I do have copies of Bruce's material that he provided, if that would be helpful, and some other documents, but again, you have all of that.
Sure. Anybody from the board have any questions?
Do you know, has this issue come up before with previous assessments? Or do you think it was is this just carried? I think what we were looking at is that it was sort of done this way in the old assessments as well.
Yeah.
And so the assessor just carried forward the way things that had been done versus.
In the past, though. Yes. I have, my wife and I moved in 2017, and I can say that we haven't challenged it. I think the reason for that, because I heard some of that as we were discussing if we should meet with you this year or not, was that we felt, as I mentioned earlier, that the overall amount of taxes that people are paying was not a significant concern. It was really just the process that was used. So directly to your question, not that I know of that it was been challenged in recent time.
And Mr. Blau, I guess another question with the harbor and with Sloop Point. Sloop Point, most of all the units there have similar views. Pretty uniform.
Mm-hmm.
The harbor, close to the same. With the green, I know some units are looking up the end of the cove, some are looking to the broader waters. So do you think?
Yes.
in your opinion, so should the person who's looking, limited views up the cove have the same tax burden as one with the bigger, kind of 180-degree views on the points?
Well, true, it is a peninsula, and so the views are different, and I could certainly see that being reflected in the valuation of the unit. Mhm. And that's reflected in the sales price of the units. Yes,
Gotcha.
those with that better view looking down the creek towards the river
Right.
have sold for significantly more than those that don't have that view.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and as I said, the real issue is, it certainly appears that 8.3 acres is assessed way too high, and then the method of, whatever the appropriate assessment is, allocating that to the 24
Sure.
units.
I know Mr. Julian, he gave a lengthy, nice presentation, with a lot of facts and data. And what we, as a board, have decided to do was to spend pretty much one meeting just on the green, because it's going to take time to go through. Not as easy as just one home site or one dwelling we're looking at. We're looking at
Understand.
24, so.
Yeah.
But your information, too, it will be helpful, and I think we're going to continue with that idea of just taking one of our meetings, nothing but for looking at the green.
Well, thank you
specifically,
for
so.
that consideration. That's-
It's going to take some
that's great.
time, but we want
Yeah.
to make sure it's all done correctly, so.
Okay.
Anybody else have any more questions? Go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say thank you again for your time and your work on this.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 to 3 weeks' time, we'll send a notice, it'll probably be to everybody whose assessments changed.
Okay.
So even though individual homeowners aren't present, because you all are making the presentation on behalf of the community, any changes made will be sent out to the homeowners. so.
Oh, great. That would be helpful.
All righty.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
What's that? No, remember we were holding off on that one? It's Bruce's package, it was like red, yeah. And I think that's gonna be the same thing with, Julian's property, so that, yeah. Kinda like we did for, Hill's Quarter.
Yeah.
Remember that one, we had the whole board up here at Hill's Quarter and going through?
Thursday, I thought that, okay, so y'all
This one,
look at all the land and all of Bruce,
Julian?
Building Nationals, he's got 23. He's gonna be on the Zoom call today.
Okay.
And I've got all the paperwork in there, just in case he asks any specific questions, but that's what I thought, because that right there is almost 50 property.
So we don't have any scheduled hearings for Thursday?
If anybody comes,
Oh, that's good. Then we can,
Cool.
good.
I don't know.
Thank you. Well, I mean, like, that,
I just think it's gonna take some time.
it will
Yeah.
be, yeah.
And just so you know, Mr. Patterson's properties are basically 4 matches his wife sent. I think it's the town of Kilmarnock's stuff, the town of Irvington's stuff, Compass by itself, which there's nothing to compare that to,
Right.
at least not locally. And then maybe this one, but anyway, it's 4 batches of property.
Okay.
So, I think that's what it's about. We've got some other email requests, but it's those given, but I would think knocking out Julian Patterson, and part of the reason you're just hearing about it now, he sent his stuff in on time to the assessor and the so.
Mr. Patterson? Oh, my. Ooh.
Crystal, before I forget, it was A2.
It is, I was gonna tell you real quick,
Okay.
the minimum home size of A2 is 33,000 square feet or 175 acres.
So we only have one then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's within 800 feet of title water, but I know it's not.
No, ma'am.
So that's it, 175 acres.
All right, thank you for that.
Had to make a copy, so I figured I'd bring it over so you'll have everything.
Oh, thank you.
So is it close? No?
It's the same, it's a 74,
Okay,
100-foot wide up until that point. Yeah,
okay.
that's great, thank you. Appreciate it.
Get all the pieces in one.
That's right.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you too.
You too.
Here.
All right. Have a safe trip.
Y'all want to talk about that one until the next one comes in? First one, Mr. Carter?
Sure.
Sure. Just kind of looking at the other,
Yeah.
Original plat.
Let's see.
it is pretty unusual. They wouldn't let you do that these days, would they?
No.
No.
I'm surprised the land values are as low as they are. They're on Crab Point Road, honestly.
375?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they are long and skinny.
I think what we're probably going to find is probably all the land values are going to be the same.
Is there some sort of
Let's see.
economic or functional?
Yeah, I think
appreciation we could put
with,
on there?
with
Well,
the,
the factor went from 85 to 100 for some reason.
It really didn't change a whole lot, but he's saying that he's kind of, now that it's gone up, and he's kind of looking at it for the first time. So,
yeah,
yeah, percent change shouldn't matter when it's a big number, and it shouldn't matter when it's a small number either. If you've got a valid point for why it should be less, and he was maybe overpaying for a bit. then-
right.
But it does seem like, you know, what he's saying, you can't do anything once it goes down to 100 feet, because you don't have a bunch of the building on, I guess you could do 25-foot wide patio or something. I guess your patio is gonna be closer to the property edge, you couldn't really do anything for a building once it gets down. That way. That's interesting, when I was at part of, I mean, it's on Crab Point Road, and Rappahannock River, so the factor probably should be 100, but
Maybe a functional depreciation for the land because of that easement.
yeah, the easement, the only other thought there is there's probably a ton of property around with an easement on it. But I guess they can come in and argue it, is that something we're gonna kind of standardize? Obviously, it makes a difference how much that easement affects your property, but you certainly couldn't put a garage or anything up by the road. The way that it is, though, it does seem like there'd be space between, I don't know if that's. And 82. So it does seem like the next property is probably valued the exact same way, right?
Right.
The land value, 399.
Yep.
Well, 553 looked different, huh?
What's that?
That 553 land value looked different.
Mm-hmm.
Want to check that one, fine with that?
I think they have a fair amount of water frontage.
Yeah, they got a fair amount of in here, you've got
It was
that
an extra
algorithm.
acre.
Maybe their
Yeah.
house is built closer to the water, so somehow that picked up a home site as being more valuable than their home site being further back. Back
That's different. Morning.
The podiums where most people have been presenting from.
Yeah, we'll put things on hold now for that. Drasko, if y'all want to come up to the podium right here? Sure. Yeah. Let us, get y'all's file in front of us real quick, and then we'll
All right.
be ready to start.
Let me,
I've been on that,
I'm gonna just go hand these to the different people so they can,
I was trying to remember. I don't think their house was super close. Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah.
You think we were late?
Exactly.
well, I
For
guess
1
you
second, we
can say-
were
Okay. I wanted to give you some,
Oh,
when I
sure.
talk, so you know what I'm
Yep.
talking
Step right
about
up.
here, because there's one issue that's kind of a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For me? Oh, I could have passed it down for you.
Thank you,
You want
sir.
to exercise. Thank you. Same thing.
Okay, I guess, yeah, let me get my copy here of what you got, so I know where you're looking at. So I guess we just questioned the assessment valuation. I mean, we understand property values have increased since the last assessment, in the last couple of years even. But we just kind of felt that was a little high, so we contacted the appraiser, and he said, well, you have a dock. And then I said, well, we do, but as you can, oh, I meant to show these around too. You want to take these up there? The dock, yeah. And, well, these are just general pictures of the property. But the dock is the dock does not access main water
All right,
from
we can pass
Chesapeake
them
Bay or anything. It's a freshwater pond that's
Okay.
not really navigable for any reason. It's part of the Tides Inn's Golden Eagle. No, that's not, it's part of the Golden Eagle Golf Course. It's kind of a decorative pond, basically, or a part of theirs. It's not really anything you paddle around on. So, and the dock is not in very great condition because the lake fills up in a heavy rain and then the dock gets all mushed around.
Right.
Anyway, so we felt, and there's some maintenance issues on the house too that need to be addressed that are in the back of the house, which is high, and we have trouble getting people to fix it. Anyway, we just thought it was a lot. We've never updated any of the kitchen or bathrooms in the house. We put a shed on the property, like a 10 by 12 shed, and took a garage door out and put patio doors to make a home office in the former garage area. That's the only improvements we've done on the property, really, since we bought it in 2005 on those. But the biggest problem when we have with the property is, when we bought the property on this first top sheet, this is how it appeared then and appears currently. Our property is a little black box there. I think it's 2872D, and the red line is,
Pull it up here on the screen.
yeah,
right here.
yeah, and that red line there is Fairway Drive. This picture blows out a little bit from that, and it shows Fairway Drive going across where it meets Clubhouse Drive and how you go into the Golden Eagle Complex. When we looked at the property, our real estate agent, Glenn Cockrell, took us down that road to look at the house, and I had asked him about the road, how is it maintained? It's pavement up to a point, and then it's gravel into the woods to the house. And he said, well, that's, Tides Inn takes care of that. It's all part of the Tides Inn. So it's Fairway Drive, that's where we went. We went to the house, it looked good, it's on the records. And we lived in Illinois at the time, and we relied on the agent to pull together a lawyer and do the closing setup and everything, and we came back and closed. So once we did that in 2005 in August, then the next thing is a letter we got from the heirs of B.H.B. Hubbard Jr. saying that you may be aware that you are using this road, Fairway Drive apparently, going through their property, and then, and I circled in red, but merely notifying you the status and that sometime in the future we may close the road. Well, that puts a problem on the access to the property. So how did that come out? How would that get missed in the
Say original.
original closing and when they were trying to close it, and the realtors and everybody, the lawyers who did the closing never caught it as title people. Anyway, so then after we looked into it more, we found out that, and then that was in 2007, we got that letter 2 years and 10 days after we closed, when we got that letter and found out about going across somebody else's property. So then we looked into it and called the closing agents and the realtor, and they said, well, they're just trying to prevent adverse possession and not to worry about it. But it's still, if you want to resell a house, you can't have a road that's going to close at any time. So we asked them to kind of figure something out. Well, come to find out, there's a subdivision on the plot books called Golden Woods subdivision, and that's in the pile there. And that was put together by the Stevens around 1990 when they owned the golf course and the property there. And two of the properties are built on, two of the lots are constructed on 646 up there. And the other house is the house that's our house, is part of that subdivision. It turns out our real access is that little road in red, which is not constructed. So the road is sitting there, that's our real access. The road is not constructed, and we have no legal access other than to build that road or get an easement from Mr. Hubbard, who won't really do an easement.
We went to their office.
We've been around and around many times with all parties. So this is what our real access is supposed to be, the Golden Woods access. So that's not constructed. So then in 2009, the Hubbards presented with our closing agent at the time, Barbara Hubbard Breeden, this document. It's a license and use agreement, and it gives us all kinds of rights to drive across there, but the highlighted in yellow, they can close it within 180 days. Well, we didn't really want to sign it, but we felt, well, we can sign it and try to figure it out, because what are you going to do? So we signed the document, oops, excuse me, and it also, on there is a couple of the schedules referred to in the document. Schedule A is the little tract on the map. You can kind of see it there. It's 2872A, I think, where the road is going through that big tract. So anyway, we signed this we presented this document, where the heck is it now? Oh, this one here. We presented this to sign in June of 2009, like 4 years practically after we bought the property. And then come to find out, which we did not know, in October of 2009, on the back page of Schedule B, it was filed on our deed on October 29th of 2009 by Ms. Breeden. So we didn't know they had done that. I discovered that when I went in there and looked at our deed one time, and this was on it. So anybody who would purchase this property was going to have competent research on their deed, and that will show up, and they're going to ask about it. So we spent several years working with the Tides Inn and the county. Don Gill was very helpful in the fact that he was planning director at the time, and he, on the Golden Woods subdivision plot, it says it has to be a 50-foot wide road, right, in order to access this on the plot. Well, he modified that to 11-foot gravel driveway if we wanted to do that. And then that would also access these other lots back here that are drawn off, that you see next, kind of by ours, kind of hanging down there. Those are part of the Golden Woods. So we didn't know what, we got estimates of up to about 30 to 40,000 to make this gravel road, which we didn't really want to do because we didn't buy the property with that kind of access. We bought it with the access and the privacy. And we didn't know how that would affect it if we did that. And then we approached the Hubbards many times, and they were very nice, but they would not budge on giving a permanent easement on that. And in our research with this problem, we found out that the Stevens, prior to selling the house, had approached the Hubbards to get an easement on it, and they would not give it to the Stevens even. So I don't know we don't really know what to do about it at this point. It's kind of, that is on the records. Will be discovered by somebody who wants to buy this property and wants to, do the legal work. They're gonna see that this is on there. And I don't know what, we'll either have to put a bond, put a escrow account of X amount of dollars if they want to build a road. Everybody says they're never going to build, they're never going to do anything anyway, right? Tides Inn has used the road since they started the golf course. They have a brush dump back in there they go to, and they have a halfway house they service, and they come and use that all the time. I don't know if they have a right of way or not. That was never discussed. And when we talked to the Tides Inn and Gordon, it kind of seemed like the Golden Woods subdivision caught them by surprise. Because we approached them to build the road on their subdivision, and they didn't want to do it because they didn't want to have another access to the golf course off of 646 that was
Right.
open to the public, so they didn't want it. And so anyway, that is a dilemma that is with this property. And it turns out that when the land was sold to the Tides Inn in the 1970s by the Hubbards, Mr. Hubbard had a lengthy description in the deed saying how he would have, when the golf course flooded the lake, which it does with the dam on the end, flooded the lake, he would have property at this part of along this part of it. He had all the coordinates marked out, where it was going to be and all the rights he would have to get to it and have access whenever it was constructed. So that's how that 5.6 acres got in the middle of all this property that's owned by the Tides Inn. Basically, everything surrounding it except the homes that were sold and the cottages there. But anyway, that is our dilemma with the with the valuation of the property. Of course, a drive-by real estate appraisal would never discover this, and it is a lovely property. It's in a beautiful location, but I don't know what to think about the.
I'm sorry you all have been through this.
When we started going, we signed it in 2009, this lease agreement, and then proceeded on a different bunch of avenues up until hiring Ms. Breeden turned the thing over to her ex-husband, I guess, James Breeden, and he did something. He wanted to file a suit with the Stevens, which because they supposedly knew about it, but in the end, it became a little clear that that wasn't the way to go. And this dragged on for so many years. We finally got a different lawyer, and by the time we had spent so much money and we were up against a brick wall, basically. So we just figured, when the time comes, we're just going to have to build the road, I guess, and or see if now, since this all happened, Mr. Hubbard has passed, and Lee Stevens has passed, and some of the other parties, Mr. Stam, who was the title agent, they have all passed, so, but it seems like some of the new characters didn't want to do it either, because we spoke to Mr. Hubbard, and he said he'd be happy to give the young Will Hubbard, he'd be happy to give a same agreement we have to somebody else who comes along, but I don't know how I don't know how much that would satisfy a buyer in the future, so it's, I don't know, I guess I would probably.
When you all purchased the property, did you all obtain title insurance?
We did, yeah. And we spoke to the,
To me,
no, we spoke, this was in.
no, I was saying, to me,
Oh, yeah,
I think I would have my legal counsel question that title insurance policy real heavy. The reason you have title insurance is to make sure you don't have defects affecting the property, especially with ingress and egress.
yeah, we,
That's why you pay that premium up front, is to protect you from having these things come up. And if things do come up, then it's up to the title insurance company to go through what you've been paying for and going through to correct the deficiency on the title.
I think we tried doing that with, we visited Mr. Stam one time, Chris Stam.
He's American title.
Yeah, that's what it was back then, I think, yeah. And he, everybody's going to look into it. But no
Frank-
one ever
You
really.
know Frank Burke? Burke and Kilduff?
Oh, yes.
Frank Burke has taken over Chris's files.
Oh, yeah.
You may want to talk to Frank.
Yeah, well, I'll put that down, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess after a certain point of time, we actually met with everybody in Richmond at a law office, and the Tides Inn offered us a lot next to us, a little pie-shaped wedge adjacent to us, but we didn't really want to do that because it still didn't solve the issue.
Well, right. I mean,
So
I wouldn't
we-
worry about time frame. I'd go ahead and call Frank and
Oh, okay, that's good.
tell him what's going on, see if he can age and straighten this thing out.
Yeah, well, that's a
Frank
good
Burke.
advice. We'll have to try that, yeah. I have seen him's law offices and information, so, all right. Anyway, that's our pitch. On the,
Does anybody on the board have any questions?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked if title insurance wouldn't do something for that, but I don't know why
Yeah.
nobody has done that for 20 years. You know, it seems like that's like the exact kind of thing that should have come up in a title search and didn't.
that's what we thought, but, as we dug more into the situation, it turned out that Mr. Breeden was part of the closing, was an agent in the creation of the deed for the sale of the land to the Tides Inn back in 1974, right?
Unfortunately, the
So-
parties you were talking to were all.
They were
party
all
to-
like I think my wife kind of summed it up with one word, collusion.
I think you'd be well served talking to Frank about this.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
want your pictures back?
I'll get them off your hands unless you want to have them.
Did you guys have any pictures?
I've got some photos, no, just the photos.
Oh,
You can keep the documents if you want.
Yep, that's great.
Any of that stuff.
Wow. What a mess.
Well, this was going to take us some time.
I don't know what you would do.
Well, I mean, it's part of our duty to look at the taxes and how the assessments came up and value-wise. But the access for ingress and egress is a new one we haven't had yet.
Yeah, it's, the way it was explained to us way back when, was that Mr. Hubbard had lost little plots of land all over, because he was a doctor, and he took land for exchange for
Right.
services. So these things pop up all the time So I don't know.
I really do think though, the title insurance piece and claim is your best bet to get this rectified, because again, when you buy title insurance, it's for this reason, so you don't have title issues that come up, and if they do, because you paid that premium one time at closing, their legal team should be taking care of helping you solve the problem and correcting the title, so.
Is there a statute of limitations for something like
I
this?
don't think so. I think title insurance runs with the policy. You buy it one time. But I think you can make a claim to title insurance
Whenever.
as long as you own the property.
Now,
Yeah.
if you refinance, is that,
No, sir.
I don't think so.
No. It's just once you acquire the property, it's a one-time owner's policy. And if you mortgage it, the lender will require lender's coverage as well, but it's a one-time upfront fee.
Have you refinanced? Did it come up when you refinanced?
Interesting.
Huh.
Well, and it wouldn't, nothing would come up except for this user license agreement.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so nobody would think anything differently that, oh, okay, well, you've got access to your property, here it
Yeah.
is.
You have to read through it.
But when you purchase the property, you run to the assumption that you had a legal ingress and egress
Right.
without having to, a couple years later, sign a agreement specific to that ingress and egress, so.
Right.
Well, good luck, guys, and we'll let you all know in the mail within the next 2 to 3 weeks of the decision on at least the home and the land part for us.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
y'all. Hello, Youngs. How are you all? Good. Can you all get to your house without having access for driveways and roads?
Yeah.
Okay. That was an interesting one. Whew. The
Oh,
day we think we've heard and seen it all, and another chapter opens up. So, welcome, guys. I'm gonna turn it over to you all. I'm gonna get y'all's property pulled up here on the screen, and then we'll have some questions. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, Mike, I'll turn it over to you guys.
Well, getting to the property is all fine, you know, Kenner Road and everything. We bought the property to build our last and final move, little piece of that 1 acre back in the woods. We're just curious, it jumped $100,000 in 1 year, and we're trying to figure out what did we do to have such an increase in the value of the house. On Kenner Road is a gravel road. The property to the left of us is a dilapidated house. It's got buzzards living in it. The other property is a rental property. We just wanted to be a little place in the woods to retire. Well, why did it jump $100,000?
I think
I think it's because,
I think your grandsons, if I remember right, went out in the backyard and planted 24-ounce gold nuggets.
That's right.
I think it's that subdivision that's a few lots up from us there.
Wow, so the land didn't change,
No.
No.
but the improvements from 175.4 to 276.5.
Yeah.
2 bedroom, 2 bath,
Yeah, real simple, real plain.
and built in 2019, 1320 square foot. Sound about right? Okay. Yeah, it looks like from the previous assessment, the value went from $86 a square foot up to $155 a square foot.
I mean, new's new.
I mean, we've been builders since '91, Class A builders. We do all the work, much as work as we can
Yeah.
to keep stuff low,
Right.
because this is the Ponderosa, and we want to stay there till we kick the bucket or whatever. And but the $100,000 increase,
Just kind of,
threw us.
Took us by surprise.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have a real estate agent that said, can you sell it for that much? And I went, I don't know. I don't know if somebody came and looked at it and.
Right.
And
We can't sell it for where we are and what's beside us, and we tried to buy that piece of land to get the fire department to burn it.
Right.
To keep the buzzards from leaving that house, sitting on top of our roof and doing their business.
Right.
You know, that's very frustrating. So,
yeah, we talked to the people and,
it was 14 people involved in it, and Spencer couldn't get us a clean title.
In that house next door?
Yeah, the land, a piece of land next door, couldn't get a clean title, and the people couldn't understand it, because I wanted to just buy it and, you know, burn the house up.
Yeah.
And have-
Good Lord.
and the grandsons could play over there.
That's right.
So that's our question, why did it jump so much? I mean, what's,
A common theme for most of the hearings and requests thus far have been for not land part, but for the improvement part, a lot of jumps.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't have answers to why things went the way they did. But we can go back now and look, and if we see disparities, and I mean, in y'all's case, $100,000 jump, why?
yeah,
You know, so.
what's going to happen next time? You know? And, we're just-
I think this one's kind of unusual with the house being new. A lot of times we'll have people come in and say, well, why did it jump so much in a year? But really, for most people, the assessments were done 5 years ago. So you've got sort of 5 years of property values increasing that all of a sudden hit you in the next assessment. With y'all building your house, you know, just a few years ago, I guess since the last assessment, but I think what happened, and I may be wrong about this, but you know, all the county did is go in and put in your square footage and everything, and then those values were based off of the old assessments. So your house ends up being assessed at whatever, you know, all these ratings that we talk about, whatever GC class 1,320 square foot house would have been assessed at in 2019. And then the next year, so that was done in 2020 after the old assessment, and then in 2024, the new assessment happened, and your property just jumped with everybody else's. But it's not really happening in just 1 year, it's 4 or 5 years worth of property appreciation all of a sudden happening all at once in an assessment, which is difficult. But yeah, I think it's just an equalization thing, and certainly the neighboring properties being like that affects your value, so that'll be something to look at as well.
Okay.
And it's not a paved road, it is a gravel road.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
If y'all
We
can-
just thought we'd put our voice in, and hopefully a bunch of other people are too, and see what happens, so. And just hope it doesn't do this again.
Right. Anybody else have more questions, young? Well, thank y'all for coming in. And at the end of the day today, we're gonna deliberate on each of these cases today,
Okay.
and let you guys know in the mail in the next 2 to 3 weeks' time, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see y'all.
Thank
All
you.
right.
See you.
That's a mess with that access.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Gosh. As soon as we said real estate agent, I was like, oh.
They didn't call y'all's name.
Yeah.
Here we go.
No,
Here we go.
I thought they gonna call your name. Thank God they didn't.
Ms. Fast? Good morning, how are you? Good, well, come on up to the podium. You're right on time, we're ready for you.
We don't need a break.
after that last grueling session?
No, ma'am, no, we get our little break at lunchtime. Let me pull up your property here
Okay.
on the board. Let's see. 156. Okay, Estates Road.
Yeah.
Well, welcome this morning. Thanks for coming in, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Whoa.
Oops, excuse me. And then you can let us know what your thoughts are about the value, and then we'll ask some
Okay.
questions. And then at the end of the day today, we're going to take each case by case,
All right.
deliberate, go through it, make our decision, and then notify you by mail in the 2 to 3 weeks time frame. So
Okay.
very informal, so.
Thank you. Well,
Yes, ma'am.
So as I thought about the assessment, I understood that there is a range in home values. My friend, who is a Realtor, pulled up a core assessment for me, so I know what the range would be. And it seems as though the assessment that I was given is at the very, very top, I believe a little more than the very top range of what I can see it is objectively assessed at. So with that in mind, and also with in mind that I need a new roof pretty soon, I probably need to do dock repairs. I would like to upgrade the bathrooms. In other words, if I was in a position to sell my house at this point, I would have to put some money into it. I appreciate the fact that the county does rely upon assessments. I felt that mine could be a bit more moderate, and that's it in a nutshell.
Let's go through your home to make sure we've got the correct data. Home is 2,080 square feet.
I will accept what is on here. I've never measured it.
Okay.
I don't know.
And then do you have a basement?
We do.
Is it finished, heated and cooled?
Pretty much so,
Okay.
yeah.
House built in 2004?
I thought we moved in 2003, but again, I would accept
Okay.
what is,
Two-story home,
yes.
5 bedrooms, 4.5 bath?
More or less, yeah.
Okay.
In other words, I don't consider something that is counted as a bedroom, but it could be construed that way.
Gotcha,
Okay.
okay. And let's see. You said the pier needs work. Just dock boards, or replace the whole thing? Or
Yeah, some of the, I would think that it could be repaired, not, I
So
don't.
most of
I
the
don't
pilings are okay, but just probably some of the deck boards?
The deck boards are what I was thinking about, yes.
Okay. And roof, you think the roof's the original?
It is
roof?
the original for sure, yeah.
Okay.
I may have another year or so with it, but
So land went up a little bit, but most of the improvement value went up 65%. Yeah,
yeah, it was
big jump.
a big surprise.
Yes, ma'am.
Were there any particular properties that you've seen sell that,
2 houses down sold, I guess about 4 years ago. A neighbor on one side sold approximately 2 years ago.
okay, about 2 years ago?
We could look up on Navica and see States Lane.
In terms of where your house is kind of set on the property, view, things like that, is there
It's a-
anything
it's a
that we
beautiful
should-
view.
Okay,
Yeah. that is the feature
Yeah.
that is most beautiful, yeah.
You have 4.5 baths?
No, more baths. You said,
4.5.
oh, I thought you said 1.5, I'm sorry, correct,
That's okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Anybody else on the board have any more questions? Well, Ms. Fast, thank you for coming in
Thank you.
and sharing. Again, we'll go through this afternoon and make decision
okay.
on your property. And then mailing address, P.O. Box 201, Mary Point?
Correct.
Okay. We'll go ahead and get a letter
All
out in
right.
the next 2 to 3 weeks' time of our
I
decision for
appreciate it,
that.
thank you. Do you want this?
Sure. Let's see.
Probably have something very.
Let's see. Oh, this is from the
My friend.
tax.
I thought that was the core.
It is.
CoreLogic.
Yep, CoreLogic. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Mr. and Mrs. Zagmagnic? Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
Thank you, Neil.
I was gonna say, I'm excited
La-
to see you take us.
The last hearing, I mispronounced two, and I said, I'm doing my best not to mispronounce it anymore, so.
The gold star today.
Well, let me pull y'all's property up real quick here on the board, and we've got monitors in front of us, so we can all see the same thing. I did study the schedule last week, so I made sure that I was ready. Then I asked my daughter for help with
The font.
pronunciation.
I'm impressed. I'll
I
look forward
am,
to
I'm
that.
very impressed.
All right, so we've got the tax cards in front of us and the assessor's data sheet. Now your property pulled up, so I'm gonna turn things over to you all. And then after you're done, we probably will have some questions for you. And then like you heard from the previous taxpayer, in about 2 to 3 weeks' time, we'll send you all a mailer of our decision today, so.
Okay. The reassessment was for 775, 5, I think, but I brought pictures of our house. And
Okay.
then pictures of comparable houses that sold.
Okay.
And ours is like, it's not the caliber of these houses. Ours is just a basic range, which you can see by the pictures. That's ours.
Nice screen porch.
Yeah,
Pretty.
it's probably the nicest part. But these are things that sold here, 775, and ours is nowhere in that, that level of construction.
If you don't mind, I'm just gonna take note of these comps you're providing us.
Right.
It's 986 Ivy Creek Road.
Tell them to pass them down, Neil.
Address sounds right.
Those are the comps. Here's, Ms. Davis, here's the subject property right here.
Oh,
All right, so it looks like the land value pretty much stayed the same. It went up $5,000 from 2019. That was because the generator was added. You added a generator?
Yes, we have the generator.
So that was, looks like that was added, but the real jump was in the improvement value, which went from 322.2 to 490.
There are no improvements done to that house other than if you want to consider the generator as an improvement.
Well, actually, they gave they gave it $5,000 value. And the term improvement is value giving to anything above and besides the piece of land, the dirt. So pier, that's an improvement.
Although that pier was there, as a matter, it's a very old pier.
Right, but the term improvement not as something that you've done to improve the value on it. It's just assigning value to anything on your property other than the piece of land. So riprap, that's considered improvements. I know you don't. I'm just saying an example. Pier, mooring piling, that's an improvement. But, so what you're saying is, since the 2019, oh, that's right. 2019, you all haven't done anything to improve what's on your property. Gotcha. And the pier in your assessment, you said it needs to be torn down, is it?
It's
The
on
house is 32 years
It's on
old,
its last legs right now.
so the pier is
I
probably,
just had work done on it
Okay.
to replace a few pilings, and I was told by the dock builder that it needs to be replaced.
Gotcha. Okay. House was built 91, 2384 square feet, sound about right?
yeah.
Okay. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, forced air, propane? Okay. 2-car detached garage, we saw that. Private well, private septic.
Oh, by the way, I don't know whether it's, as far as value goes, my septic field is an easement on somebody else's property.
So you've got a remote drain field on somebody else's property?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm sure that would be tracked. And I can also, to compensate for that, in a sense, I have to, use my driveway along with my neighbor. That's my driveway, but he could use it because my septic field is on his property. So
We-
that's not an enhancement.
We had another case today where there was similar, a property had a driveway easement for the next property coming off, so so it's a shared driveway on your property,
It's on my property.
but your drain field is on your,
There, it's somebody else's property.
gotcha,
I know that can't be a plus.
sure. Garage, 25 by 34. What do you say the condition is of that?
Well, everything is in decent condition because it's maintained.
Right.
But there's have been no improvements at all done other than a paint job.
Okay. Anybody on the board have any questions? Well, I appreciate you all coming in and sharing with us the photos and the comps. They're very helpful. And I took note of the addresses so that this afternoon, when we go back on your case, we'll go through and we'll look at those comps in detail too. And pull those tax cards and take into consideration market value, because obviously sales price would constitute market value on a property sold, especially in the last 6 to 12 months, so. We'll do that, and then we'll notify you guys in the mail within 2 to 3 weeks' time. All right. Thank you all very much. Have a great day. Oh, P.O. Box 286 Kilmarnock? That's the
Yes.
best mailing address for
Well,
you?
you could use the street address. You could use the street address.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Bye.
You want to go back to the first one again? Mr. Carter?
Yeah.
And so we either move the factor down and up, or give it some different appreciation because of the shared driveway.
I worry that paying too much attention to the shared driveway just opens up, I mean, it's hard, because obviously, but I feel like there's some shared driveways that don't really affect the property, and then there's some that really do affect the property if the shared driveway goes right in front of the house. But I think that's kind of hard to pick up on an assessment. But I do think doing, I guess it would be a functional depreciation for that. It shouldn't be the same value as the property that's 100 foot wide, because that just gives you a lot more opportunity to do things. Like a 10% functional depreciation.
10 for functional? You want to leave the factor where it is?
And he didn't really,
It's on-
he didn't really dispute I guess the factor.
Because it's on Crab Point Road there.
Yeah, I mean, and I would think, I mean, overall, I don't know exactly what the house is like, but probably if you put something with the dock on Crab Point Road,
Yeah.
800 square foot cottage,
Yeah.
that it's not terribly off.
Total value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even mention anything about the improvements, so.
yeah. But I think doing something compared to his neighbor that doesn't have that little tension is
Mm-hmm.
fair and something that the assessor wouldn't have picked up on.
Everybody good with doing 10% functional?
Yeah. And you're good, but you're gonna leave the factor at 100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Crystal, 33,477. We're just giving it a 10% functional depreciation.
Well, and, I'm sorry, but I just saw my note too. He had a shared well, right? That fits in the same category, kinda? I mean, can't you
Shared
call
well
that a
piece, I
functional
don't think
issue?
so much, because actually, if something goes wrong, it's cutting down your cost.
Okay.
There's pros and
I've got a
cons.
shared well, and I don't think from a resellability standpoint, if you've got your own private well versus a shared well, it's gonna be, do y'all think? I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's.
I don't,
I guess that'd be on an appraisal, is
I
that
don't-
something that you?
I
pay
don't
attention
say
to?
that's negative at all,
Okay.
because
cool.
it's so prevalent down here.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you.
Shared driveways sometimes is a problem.
Yeah, that all, it just depends on how
Right.
the driveway runs and.
How about shared pier?
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, shared pier definitely affects
Well,
marketability.
I guess my thought was if you got a shared well, and it happens to be on your neighbor's property, and something happens, and then you and your neighbor have a falling out, what,
Yeah, and that does happen.
can he be,
So
That can be an adverse
when
situation.
we did
but-
ours, we built our house, our neighbor had a shared, shallow well, and we were gonna build a well, so they said, well, let's go in together. We'll put on our property, that's fine.
But it's legally documented,
But so
right?
when we did that, we had a well agreement.
You have an agreement done that's
that says
recorded,
that, you
so
know,
then,
perpetuity.
just like your easements and everything else.
Yeah,
Okay,
Just
cool.
like a driveway easement, or if
Perfect.
you had to go in there and maintain it or something, who's responsible for what?
Yeah,
Now,
because I know people change. and-
there,
Oh, yeah.
let's see. I haven't run into any yet that have shared wells without an agreement, but I'm sure there probably has been going way, way back.
No, it makes sense. I'm not familiar with the process.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
And shared a driveway, if they live in another state, it's no problem. 'Cause a lot of them got out of town address.
But that one's done then, right?
Yeah, that's finished, yeah.
Mr. Yucky, he's early.
Mr. Yerke, how you doing?
All right, how about y'all?
Good. Well, I tell you what, give us 2 minutes to pull your file, and if you don't mind, we can let you go ahead and, so you're not sitting here for an hour.
That's what I was hoping.
All right.
He's ready to roll.
Whitechapel Road, okay. Let's see.
And all right. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you.
You jump in here.
Okay. Lines.
You all ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Yerke, if you want, come up to the podium here, and I'll turn things over to you.
All right, thank you.
I don't know really exactly what to tell y'all, but we got this assessment.
Uh-huh.
They jumped it up almost 42% on this place this year. And of course, the place, my father's been gone for a good while, so the condition of the place has gone down considerably. You know, it's an old place, it takes a lot of maintenance. And I just think going up 42% in one cycle is an awful hard hit. So I wanted to see what we can do, if there's anything we can do to get it down a little bit.
Okay.
I looked around to see what was out there for sale, similar. I didn't see the first thing on Realtor.com or Zillow that was at all similar. It's an inland property, it's not waterfront. The only place that's sold I won't say the only one, but one that sold was right up the street from us. I think sold in 2021. Basically a farm with a rundown old house on it. 188 acres, it sold for $380,000, $427.21. That was the closest thing I could find as far as location. Now this piece is 55 acres that I'm appealing. And I guess that's about it. It just, 42% just seemed like a big jump in a short time.
We didn't get the one, is that what you're looking
Yeah.
for?
Crystal, I think there should be another tax card, maybe? Are we missing a piece of information?
Yeah, that has the main house on it.
Yeah, there must be is there a smaller house on the property and then
Yep.
the main house?
Mm-hmm.
So I think all that we got was the card for the smaller house.
Little house.
Let me see, 55.
And one house is 1804, the other house is 1948.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay.
And the other house is, the tenant house is what we call it. It's been vacant. Nobody's lived in it probably in, I don't know, 15 years, 10 years. It's a slab. They got it as a foundation, cinder block foundation, but basically it was a slab. It was built on a slab. You know, it needs work. It needs quite a bit of work.
Is it habitable?
Yeah, I'd say it's habitable. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not falling down, but it's on the rough side,
Okay.
you know.
And
Is
it's,
power hooked up to it?
Yeah, we
They
keep,
still-
yeah, electric's on and all
Yeah.
that stuff. I mean, it's had some termite damage. You know, same windows in it that were in it when it was built. It needs work.
Right.
Let me put it that way. Like I say, we don't live there full-time. My father, he was down here a lot. He's been gone for, I don't know, 12 years, 13. So in 13 years, a place goes down quite a bit if somebody's not on top of it constantly.
Sure.
And especially an old place that requires so much maintenance.
So nobody's living in the main house full-time?
Not
either?
full-time,
Is the land farmed?
yes.
What portion of it, how much is farmed?
No, we'll be all
I
right.
see here.
I guess like there's probably, I'm gonna say 50 acres of, 45 acres of it, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay, so it's here.
Someone rents it and farms it.
Yes.
The,
so on the 1948
this
home,
this,
one story,
not the.
and that's been vacant roughly about 12, 13 years since your father.
Probably even before that.
How long would you guesstimate?
Let's just say for 15 years.
Okay.
Let's just say, don't quote me on that, but let's just say 15 years.
Okay.
It's there, you know, it's there, you can't separate it from the rest of the place, you know, it's
Right.
part of it.
Yeah.
And of course, we tried renting it a few times when he was alive, and that was not a fun experience. So we just let it sit.
Gotcha.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. You want to answer?
I guess he's calling you.
I cut him off.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a pretty day today, didn't it?
It is.
Beautiful.
Did it warm up?
It's warming up a little bit. Yep, it's warming up a little bit.
How did you feel on the last assessment for the total value is 718, 700?
I mean, I didn't dispute it,
Yeah.
so obviously we felt it was fair.
But a million, then it's probably just looking at some comps on some bigger land.
land
And
tracts.
also, this is another one, Crystal, where the field data sheet ended up being just the new assessment, to be able to see what the physical depreciation was, and I don't know if that's, okay. Okay. There's a few things we can look at. Factor 165 certainly jumps out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we saw that on Eamon Dunton's, right?
Yes.
Some of these
Yeah.
historic
Right.
ones. Be interesting to know. Is the house pretty far down? Can you see the house from the road?
You can see it
You
from
can
the
see it from the
road.
road.
It's back in there, but you can see it from the road.
Is it, is it kind of a typical 1804 farmhouse? Is it, or is it more sort of like a manor?
It
type?
was more of like a manor place. It was
So it's-
5 windows across the front.
Okay.
It was, it was a fair-sized place. It, hip roof, chimneys, It was a nice place when it was built. has the old roof on it. The house, I guess the roof is probably from around 1960. It's got that asbestos shingle roof on it, which was a good roof, but I understand it's pretty hard to get rid of the shingles now if you want to get a new roof. I don't know exactly, but we've repaired it a couple times, but I understand it's kind of hard to get rid of them now.
Yeah.
In terms of inside the house, are things pretty level with the age of the house?
Well,
Sometimes,
yeah,
I'm sure there's some.
Anything that old's gonna roll around some, and it does. I mean, it's a solid old place, but yeah, it's old,
But it's not so uneven that
No,
it's,
no.
so it means it's in good shape, y'all.
that part of it, I mean, is gonna be, I guess, the way you'd expect any old place.
Yeah.
I mean, if you went through and you restored it, you're still gonna have some bows and so forth. There's no, you're not gonna get rid of that. That's part of the character of the place.
What's the other, you're probably just looking at how they did some of the other properties there going out on Route 3. What's the one real close to here, just up the road on the left? I guess in between here and the primary school. Yeah, just kind of seeing,
Well, that was a complete restoration job that the previous owners did.
okay, just kind of looking at some of those similar.
The
style and
bathrooms
see
in
how-
it are probably from, I'm gonna say the 50s, maybe in that ballpark when they did the restoration on the place way back. The same bathrooms, that kind of thing,
Same kitchen as well, so the last major
Yes.
upgrade was 50s, 60s.
Yeah, it's an
style.
old style kitchen. There's no real laundry room in the place.
Okay.
I mean, and I don't want to stand up here and make it sound like it's worse than it is either, but it's, an old place like that is of a different standard than places today,
Yep, okay.
It's still got the old original windows, single pane,
Anybody have any more questions? Good.
No, all very helpful, thank you.
Thank you for your time. We'll, at the end of the day today, we'll deliberate on each case and then notify you all, I guess, 2305 Flora Park Road, good mailing address?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
we'll let you know in about 2 or 3 weeks' time of our decision.
All right, well, I appreciate y'all's time, and y'all all have a good day.
Thank you, too.
Thank you.
All right, you too.
Easy on people. Oh, my goodness, I didn't know to get nervous.
I was going to thank you for your time, but 5 of you is not enough thanks, or 7.
Hang on one second, buddy.
Sure.
Gotta get ready for you.
Let us get your file in front of us real quick here.
Before that lady has to- Ed ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, did you notice that note on that other one? It said that the gate was locked, so there probably isn't a field sheet. And maybe that's why Crystal couldn't find it.
Okay.
All right, everybody ready? Okay, Mr. Ramos, welcome.
Thank you.
Sure, I'll turn things over to you.
Okay. As you know, I live at 187 Radcliffe Lane, full-time. I got the assessment, and I noticed just a couple of things. When I bought the house, I paid less than the assessed value. And relative to the purchase price 3 years ago, the increase was very large, more than I was expecting. Prices rose in the community. I just looked to see why there may be a distinction between this house's trending value and comparables, things like that. And the biggest thing that I see as a difference is it floods. When I moved in, there was ductwork that had been taken out by flooding, so that was one of the first things I had to do was replace that. And then it floods regularly. The highest since I've been here, there was 1.5 feet of water in the shed, the 2 sheds I have. Erosion behind the sheds has caused the backside to go down so that it's common that it floods in there regularly, a couple of times a year. And then the driveway floods much more often, which, since it's salt water, is something people don't want to drive their cars through regularly because of the damage that can accumulate. It was flooded over the driveway as recently as last Friday, so it is very regular. And let's see. Of course, flood insurance would be something that a buyer would have to consider for my home. I bought it, and there were a number of repairs that needed to get done. More significant ones is there's a bulkhead that is failing, and there's the dock is missing boards, and the pilings are. It all needs replacing. And I have a list of electrical issues, a lot of different things that I've addressed to the ductwork, and there was fungus underneath the home, and I got that remediated. So those, out of the inspection report, which is available for you, those are the 2 items that have been taken care of to date. Some just takes a little time to get somebody to show up, but in any event. And then there was one other thing I wanted to mention.
40 feet from the water?
Yeah, well, it is 40 feet from the water at its closest point. It's right where the dock is, and for some reason it's encroaching there. The closest the water's gotten from my home since I've been there was about 1 foot on one side. Of course, it does go underneath, as evidenced by the insulation.
1910 house?
It's an older home, yeah.
It's in bad shape.
Oh, the only other thing that might not show up in the comparables is I share a well. The water, everybody, the 3 of us, the 4 units that split the well, we drink bottled water. It has a sulfur smell. I believe it's healthy. However, if I'm away for a couple of days, black comes out. Not exactly sure where that's coming from. And we share the expenses. So the people that are there a few, 20 days a year aren't really, it doesn't bother them so much. And my other resident's an older lady who just doesn't want to spend that type of money at this stage in her life. So we share that. So that's something I deal with. Laundry doesn't come out white. The whites don't. Other than that, it's not too bad. Other than that on the laundry. And then we share my boat ramp. So we share my well, and we share my boat ramp. And so those things are a factor as well. Share the driveway, we share that expense. So those are the big ones. Are you interested in seeing the home inspection report?
Sure.
Okay, here you are.
Are you on White House Creek?
Thank you.
Yes.
So another point of land on White House Creek. I think everybody with a point of land on White House Creek is coming in, so it's unusual, and the land value jumped a bunch.
Yeah, and I haven't studied theirs, obviously, but I assumed that they would all have a similar impact on their value because of the flooding. But, it doesn't mean we don't love our homes. But it's something that the majority of people don't want to deal with or can't. So it impacts the selling price. When I paid $350, the assessed value was $416. That value on Zillow was around $500. A deal for $350 was contingent before I bought, and that fell through. And there were about my understanding was there were about 6 to 10 bids when I bid, and my 350 bid was the highest bid. So I think it was a very active market at the time, a good selling market, and that's what it came out at. Lots of viewers and lots of offers, and that's just was the highest bid, so.
Is that right, am I reading that right? There's a $60,000 value for riprap?
Yes.
That is way higher than anything that we've seen. I guess you got a lot of shoreline, but.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of shoreline. I did not see that number, but I do have riprap.
And this is the boat ramp right over here on this side, right?
Correct,
So the driveway comes in here,
yes.
big metal building or a big pole barn behind the house?
One's a metal building.
Okay.
It was made out of the wrong metal, it's rusting from the bottom up.
Right.
And then the other's a wood shed. And,
Okay.
you know, that, it's not even because of the flooding. I see that on the wood barns and stuff on the bottom, you know, it rots out.
Yeah.
And I can't invest in those just because of the flooding. And I'm not able to lift it up to keep a vehicle out of flooding because it's concrete poured.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like, what am I going to do? So anyway, and I can't build a different shed or garage or something. So I would just have to remodel what's there, and it's just not worth the incremental thing.
And if I remember, all the bulkhead over here on this side where the ramp was in rough shape.
It is. It's failing. So
Washout behind the bulkhead and.
yeah, that's the case. Yeah. How do you know the property so well?
Actually, I showed it several times before you all bought it.
Oh, did you? Well, there you go. You know more than I do. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I showed it several times. It's a peaceful setting there, but you're right, it's lower land.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I love the place.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem with the place. It's just what is the fair value? And I
Right.
know I can't get
Sure.
what things show. So
Yeah.
it was just that. And I couldn't afford what I think it's worth. I mean, if it wasn't for the flooding, the place would probably be worth a fair amount, and I wouldn't have bought it, you know,
Right.
because I can't. So,
House, excuse me for saying, David, I'm a realtor, I'm a former realtor, Lynn Gilligan, I've worked with you.
Yeah, hey, Lynn.
I've worked with you previously. And,
Sure.
I just came in support of his argument that this house, fair market value, is nowhere near in 600s. No,
Right.
the house, I would have told him it was a tear down. I don't know what your opinion was.
Yeah, Yeah.
That's, I think, a very important factor is the values of the land.
sure.
It's a beautiful point of land. It's an island. When I go to see him, sometimes I can't get out.
Right.
It's an island.
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's all I want to say is that, in my opinion as a realtor, it's not worth in the 600s.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You have a boat?
I do. I got a boat with a 2-foot keel on the centerboard, so I can keep it there. It's
So
real
you'll be
nice.
safe.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I love about the
Unless it floods
boat.
too much, then this boat will float off, land.
I tied it up once, it took away one of the pilings and stayed on the other two.
Yeah.
I moved it around to the boat ramp area, because I had the dock. It took out one of the pilings there, so, you know, it's a small 23-foot sailboat, so, but the winds can be good. I'm not too worried about it going, you know, some of these are rotten pilings and others aren't, you know, I don't think it'll rip them out.
You intend to have that repaired?
It'll all be replaced, yeah, yeah.
And get a helicopter.
I parked the car at the end of the driveway and walked to it with high boots if
Oh,
I
you
need,
do?
you know, that's what the neighbors do.
That's love.
Yeah, yep.
It's indeed a beautiful, beautiful piece of land.
Ooh.
Does anybody have any questions, Mr. Ramos?
No, sir.
Well, thank you for your time and coming in. and
Certainly.
We'll get this home inspection report back to you. But that's helpful, showing the quality and the repairs that were necessary when you bought the house.
Yeah.
And we'll go through after today's last hearing is over with and decide on each individual case and notify you by mail in 2 or 3 weeks' time, so.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, good to see you, Lamb. You want to give that back?
Oh, wait a minute.
Mr. Ramos, here's your home inspection report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Miss Kathy. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
We ready for you?
You are.
I hope so.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm ready for.
This is
Ms.
Catherine
Davenport,
Davenport.
yes.
You got
Kathy, I did receive
the papers from,
appraisal from Ty.
Yeah.
I'll share with the board.
okay. That's my biggest concern. Lord knows, I would never have rebuilt the place if I hadn't had to. And that's my main concern. I didn't sell a software company or anything else, and I'm just trying to make a living down there, struggling as it is with no fish. But that was quite a shock to see that appraisal on that. But you've seen the one that was sent to you, so hopefully we can, I can live. I've sold property to try and pay my taxes. I don't want to have to sell any more to pay
Right.
more taxes. Now, the other one I had a concern with was, which I guess that's not a big deal, because that was only like $40,000, and, well, what's $40,000? But the property next to me doesn't have park sites on it, and that is, which one is that? 3559D. I know I sold 4 acres of waterfront with park sites for $185,000, and that's just on the other, well, I don't have to tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
there's market value established right there with,
Yeah, so I don't know how much more I can say. That's all I have to offer.
well, the good news is, again, we do have the other lots that were sold right here.
Yeah,
And Bill Davenport came in, y'all know Bill, his property was over here, he had him for the board, and the other property is the fish house here on the point.
yeah. The
Which-
fish house, I think when the report was compiled, he just did the whole thing. It was the fish house, the railway, which doesn't exist anymore anyway.
Right.
After the tornado, and everything we rebuilt. So I guess that was, I don't know what they did. They came 5 times, measured everything 5 times, and I don't know what they did, so.
Oh, Bill told me.
Oh, I'm sure you did. And not in a kind way either.
Yeah, but it was helpful having an appraisal because Ty chose a couple other properties in the county
Yeah.
to compare with.
And greatly appreciated. He did
That's
it,
going to be very
yes.
helpful in this.
Well, if we can keep, as long as I can pay my taxes, I am almost 78 years old. It is a little bit harder for me to do these things.
78 going on 48.
Phew, dear Lord. Maybe my mind, but not my body.
Those little grandbabies, they keep you going there, don't they?
We were just met with the governor down at VIMS yesterday.
And then, what was Tori, did she win a equestrian?
4 blue ribbons at
That's awesome.
at the horse show.
So the horse riding, does that come from your side or Ray's side?
It must be raised, because I'm not much of a horse fan. They're a little big for me. But it's an interesting thing. I mean, to be this old and have these beautiful little children.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But they're good.
That's awesome.
I appreciate
Well,
your
Kathy,
time.
we're gonna, because you've got 1, 2, 3, it's 4 total properties. We'll go through each one of them and look at them, and then we'll send you a mailer to your home with 4 different notices, 1 for each tax parcel.
Okay,
And I will share the appraisal to the board from
I
Ty,
appreciate it.
'cause
Do
every
you need
bit
I've got a copy. Do you need another one?
No, it's okay. I've got it electronically, so I can actually pull it up here. and we
Oh,
can all
that's
see
right,
it,
okay.
so. But thank you.
Thank
Hope
you.
everybody's doing well.
I think so.
We got
just-
some, we got some noise across the creek from y'all. Our neighbor started building finally, so. On the
And
point.
I understand that the castle has been
It's under
put under
contract.
contract.
That's what I understand too.
Exciting.
Wow.
I'm so thrilled.
We'll see what happens.
I think they're from California. I don't know.
I thought you and Bill were gonna buy it to expand the fish house operation.
Oh, absolutely. I think Kathy Davenport has spent all the money she's gonna spend on that fish house. Maybe William will take
That's
over.
right.
But I thank you for your time.
Thanks, Kathy.
Bye.
What are you doing, Chuck?
Not really taking somebody else's spot.
You're only 2 hours early. But, come on. If you're ready, we're ready. Chuck Marchetti, it's our 1:30 guys.
Oh,
No, this is great. We've had several people come early and,
I'll get y'all out of here earlier.
well, it'll give us more time to deliberate this afternoon. All right, Chuck, let me pull up yours here. I saw your daughter and granddaughter and son-in-law this weekend. Millie was walking, talking.
Where did you see them?
Kirk Myers on Sunday.
Oh.
We had a captain's meeting at Vine, then went back to the Kirk Myers, and they had having dinner over that night, so
Good deal.
got to hang out with Millie and everybody.
She wanted to ride up here today with me.
She should have.
Yeah. She goes, Pop, I want to get in the
She
truck.
should have. Let's see. Gotta go to the back here.
You want the parcel number?
Randolph Square, here we go.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Everybody on the board ready to roll? All right, Chuck, I'll turn it over to you, bud.
Okay, so I purchased the lot next to this with the house and this 33-134A, and it was 33-134B, all as one, even though it shows it split here. And then I sold the 134B off for what I paid for it. And I looked at this the 33-134A is, number one, it doesn't have, I think it's like 20 feet of water frontage. And I don't even know whether, the way it's configured, that it's gonna even perk, or you have to get 2 septic sites on there, they told me. Then the other thing was I pulled up, it's parcel number 33-118, and that was on Carter's Creek. It was 13.35 acres, and it sold for $280, but it had 375 feet of water frontage.
How much water frontage, Chuck?
I think that it was 375 feet. And I think maybe this lot has, I'm taking a guess, probably 20.
Is there a dock on the property?
No.
No,
Have you?
it's
only-
unimproved. It's unimproved.
Right. Yep, no, I see that now. If
And
there's
you know
only
what-
20 feet,
You know
you
what,
can't put a
Neil?
dock.
The way that the lot's configured, you couldn't put a dock there.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
it's right at the very end,
Yep.
so do you have access, yes, to the water? You couldn't put a pier out there.
Isn't it kind of low? I was trying to remember when that.
It comes down like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of swamp area
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
front there. And
Okay.
so I just felt like for what I had paid for both pieces, and I sold the house, this was more of a buffer for the house we have on the point. We've got 33-132A.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only
So-
reason you bought it, was just to,
For the driveway runs alongside there.
yeah.
So my opinion was it really wasn't worth a whole lot. I mean, it's only an acre, or less than an acre, too. I think it's like 99, what does it say on here? I think it's .99, something like that.
Yeah, .992.
I've got this parcel up here, if you, I can leave this copy with you if you want to see it.
Was that the 133,118?
Right, the 13 point some acres here that sold, 13.35.
Here it is, right here.
Thirteen.
13.35 acres, yeah. So what we'll do, Chuck, this afternoon is go through, like you've done for this one, and look at other properties that have very limited water frontage and see what their price is for home sites. I mean, even this parcel, it's got more frontage and the ability to put out a pier where yours does not.
I mean, it's just,
So it's almost kind of an apples and oranges comparison, but that's something we'll look at. Other properties, probably in and around Lancaster, Carter's Creek area where it's limited water frontage, and see what the values are there.
okay. I appreciate it.
33,106 right there.
30, yeah,
Looks like that could have a,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this parcel here, see, it's kind of, on the screen, looks similar to yours, Chuck, but you don't have a whole lot of frontage.
Right.
And that one was assessed at 67.5,
That's 6 acres.
6 acres. So, so that's kind of our exercise we do, is we'll go around and see if we can find other ones like this and say, okay, wait a minute. You got 3 other parcels, similar layout. Why are those properties taxed at X and then yours is at,
Right.
so. Anybody on the board have any more questions for Mr. Marquetti?
No, sir.
Great.
Well, thank you, bud.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, go back and tell
Appreciate it.
Millie I said hello.
I will.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud. That's a good one, Neil, right there.
Yeah.
Down
that's a
Weems
good
Road
one.
still.
Yep.
All right, we finished, so our next one's coming in 11:15. So we might as well just wait for that one before starting
is
something
there
else.
anything that was,
Great.
And not just 15 minutes early, 2 hours. That's okay, if you're ready to go.
is it, yeah. Bathroom too, actually.
Yeah. We're all ready for you.
I ran over here, as you can see. Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Luisa Santana.
Morning.
And I reside at 2357 Windmill Point Road. Our property, we purchased a property a few years ago, and my husband, who happens to be a contractor, noticed that there was a lot of spots in one corner, and he opened it up, and it was full of mold and, what else?
Termites.
Termites, and, anyway, I brought pictures on my phone if you guys would like to look at it. Want to give them the- I made
The
a-
house is 100 years old, next year 100 years old. And we bought it as like a COVID project,
Well, I bought it
and it
today.
turned out to be a lot more than what we expected.
Yeah.
So it's not inhabitable at this point.
Yeah, a realtor suggested that we buy an RV, and I said, well, do people live in those things? And she said, yeah. And we've been living in the RV while we're fixing the house. Should I start from this corner?
Sure, that's fine.
I can stand up.
Okay. That's the RV that we live in.
Where is it?
That's the,
Windmill Point Road.
yeah, I used to travel outside the U.S., and I have this thing about the U.S., we're a disposable society, we knock beautiful buildings down, and it kills me. So, this house was built the year my dad was born. Oh, wow. So, even though I'm from Jersey, I said, I want to preserve her. And we found out a lot of, you redid the foundation, and you could put the Empire State Building on it. And then we found out that our water table, I'm in the insurance industry, is very low, and I couldn't get domestic carrier to insure us. I had to call it Favor from Lloyd's. Because we had a lot of trees, the water was so low. We had 60 truckloads of dirt brought in to level it. They put a French, we focused on the outside.
Right.
Because it was not economically feasible for us to lift the house up. And as you can see, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. Her whole bones were gone, totally gone. And again, let me know if I'm going too fast. But I'm in love with her. And life happened, and the prices of lumber went up 40%. Kind of like put a dent in our
Remember
budget.
during COVID, they went from $2 a stud to $8 a stud.
Oh, sure,
We
yeah.
just stopped doing everything. We
Yeah.
just not paying.
There's more, there's more. Mom was diagnosed with dementia, and then she had a stroke, so we had to put plans on pause. I went to Florida for a while to set her up and get her started. We had Miller Septic Services, which was a blessing. We thought it was $40,000, we came out to 12. There's no bathrooms right now in the house. Apparently, there was a bathroom built on top of the hallway with no support. No support. And we discovered on one of these walls, this is on Miller, doing their job. There was a wall there that someone took down. See, this is how we got her. She was being eaten up. There's a wall there that I want to show you that was very dangerous. That whoever was before us took a wall down, and it's a barren wall for the upstairs. There it is. See, they chopped the wall.
Oh.
So there's a double. I know you're from somewhere. Your face looks familiar.
I don't know, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so that's what we're dealing with. Oh, there you go. I highlighted that for the insurance carriers.
So maybe one day it'll be worth what it was assessed.
Not now.
Not right this second.
Well, my whole thing is, he's antsy. I can't keep him home. He loves what he does, and he's really good at it. And when his business partner died from COVID, I panicked, because I knew he wasn't going to stay home. So I said I had to find a project that he's going to be busy until God found it. And that's
Got the
how-
project, just
And this-
cost went up too much.
And just to show you where,
Yeah.
this is the RV that we bought. And you know what? I like it better than the house.
It's cozy, we like it.
Yeah, you're right.
I get it cleaned in under, this busted knees because of the RV.
Oh,
Because you have to, I didn't realize you have to, when you turn.
And if you get bored of the view, you just haul it somewhere else and find a different view, right?
You got that right, yeah.
No, there is a slight discrepancy, and maybe when I'll deal with it. Oh, this is the mold. We took tons of mold out.
Mm.
And this is all that water. See how it was just, well, you, yeah. Yeah. So we didn't take anything major out, just damaged goods and stuff. Right. And that bathroom that could be falling. This is the room that they took the main wall downstairs that was holding that room. Come on. Yeah, and just to show you, so you could know, this is where we're living. This is the trailer.
All right.
And that's where we stay, which is on the property. That's nice. And if you Google the address, Google captured the trailer. Okay, and I'm sorry for being late. There was really
No, it's
so-
okay.
No, that's all right.
No worries.
It's all right. So before you all got here, we noticed that the land value hadn't changed. It was just the improvement value. And, oh, thank you.
So you purchased it for $65,000 in 2020, and it's fair to say that there was more going on in the house than you could tell
All right,
when you purchased it in 2020.
exactly.
A lot. We had encapsulation done as
Okay.
well, right?
Right.
Well, you could-
Premature.
You had to
You know,
solve,
it was weird because there was so much water under the house that I actually laid under there and dug a French drain on the interior, put a sump pump and everything. Then the gutter guy finally showed up after 6 months. He put the gutters on, we had no more water. And it took me over
Oh,
2
gosh.
months to laying on my back, pulling that stuff out, the
Yeah.
dirt,
Oh,
putting
yeah.
gravel in, the whole 9 yards. It's a project.
wow.
And I'm a carpenter, but I have a taste of all this stuff. I
Right.
like Chesapeake Homes. And,
So if you guys need an addition or anything, he's really, really good.
it's still a considerable amount of work to be done. That work at Stag, I think you're gonna have to get a steel beam in there.
Oh, we need to
get
do-
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right, I'm getting prices on a new roof. The roof is, we had some shingles blow out off this last storm, so there's that. So there's,
One more thing, the questionnaire had asked me to compare 3 other properties in the area. I didn't know what properties to list.
There's only one, the next door, that used to be the old Palmer Post Office, that's abandoned.
Yeah.
So that would be the closest comparison to the, the same type of home,
Right.
Well, that one's better though.
And I
Very
think
nice.
it might be a little better.
Well, that's all right. As far as the comparisons go, we can utilize our systems here and find other things to compare with, but again, I think for y'all, it's just a matter of the condition of the property
Right.
and, why is that?
And please don't
Where
get
it
me
is.
wrong, my dad taught me to fear Uncle Sam, the IRS. I don't mind paying taxes. I think it's for the greater good. So this is not about that. This is just about, she's not well yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pictures are super helpful, thank you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Y'all have any more questions? Sir. Well, thank you all for coming in, and we will,
Thank you for having us.
we'll deliberate after this afternoon's final session, and then we'll make a decision on each case by case and notify you all in the mail in 2 to 3 weeks' time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
She get her mail at that address?
Oh, do you get your mail at the 2357 Windmill Point Road?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what we'll send the notice
Thank
to.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. Where's the bailiff? Don't we have access to a bailiff in here? What's going on, Howard? Doing all right, buddy?
You ready for me yet?
Yeah, let us, yeah, I mean, you're early, we're ready for you. Let's just pull up your file real quick, Howard. How's Pat?
Fine.
Good, good. Your son still selling up in Mechanicsville?
Maine.
Maine.
Yeah.
What,
He must,
what happened?
nuts, I guess.
Most people move south. Most people move south. I guess you were giving too much grief, and he had to get ready, leave?
I can't even explain.
All right, Howard, let's see here.
Howard, that's Howard.
Howard Kaiser, yep. Equivalent point, 59. Y'all ready to roll? Okay, Howard. I'm gonna give you your own podium, microphone, everything.
All right.
You got the floor, bud.
All right, good morning, everybody. I don't expect to get out of here without a tax increase. I mean, that's a gimme. But I just want to be assessed fairly. Oh, you got the paperwork there. The assessor hit my piece of property and raised it $250,800. Almost 58 point something percent at one pop. I came up here after I got myself out of the floor. I came up here and talked to the assessor, and I was surprised to find out what he didn't know. He found the two most expensive properties that I could see from my house and lumped me in with them and moved on. He did not consider my house is a two-bedroom house. It has been, he lowered it $80,000. I think it should be lowered that much again. And I'm gonna show you why.
Howard, when you say he lowered it from what your original notice was?
He lowered it 250,000 by 80,000.
Did y'all see that on your? No, we don't see that on our end.
I don't think we don't see it if he came in and argued before the assessor. So I don't think we see,
Okay.
I don't think we see that intermediate step when that happens. I'm not even sure whether,
These that you don't have. This is the stuff.
might be helpful.
Yeah, let's see that.
Yeah, his original 16-2 that raised it by 250,000. After I met with him,
I got you.
here's the 80 he lowered it, but it's 602.
I got you.
That's what we had.
Okay, yeah, we're showing the 602 on our end. Okay. So the 602, that's what he lowered it after you met with him.
After I met with him, that's what he lowered it. I say it should be lowered more than that for a simple reason. I'm gonna show you some stuff here now that is killing me. I only have one time to make a first impression when somebody comes in my place. I don't have to tell you guys that.
Right.
Here's what the county allowed my neighbor to build right slam in front of my house. And I'll start that. You can want to take a look. Should be in Kimmon's Industrial Park, completely out of the character of the neighborhood.
Who's that, Mike's property?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Completely out of the character of the neighborhood. And not only block.
And Howard, looking up top here at the screen, Mike's house is roughly here. Where my, see on the thing, right here? So is this,
Right where the numbers are.
right here, this is where this building is?
The building, you know, is over right up against my property line.
Right over here?
Right there. against
Okay.
the property line.
All right, I just want to get a sense of.
All right, these properties, this property on the back of me, I'd like for you to look at each one of them. I was here 4 years ago to show you this and telling you how bad it was. Well, it's 4 years worse now. And the owner has never been there.
Right.
You remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They-
That's the one that they had a light come on, thought it was electrical, could be a problem, and then you had gas cans
The whole
and,
place down, including my house,
Yeah.
if I hadn't saw it.
right. Was any of that? Wow. Anything done about that?
The county had the power cut off to the house, but they had to turn it back on, they said, because the owner made him turn it back on. Last power company did not turn it back on.
Wow.
Here, this one is 95 feet from my kitchen window. Take a look at that beautiful pier he's got.
Yeah.
That's 95 feet from my kitchen window.
You see, he made notes on here,
Yeah.
derelict house next door, then 10% economic. That wasn't on the last, remember? Here's the,
At $80,000 less, I'm still got a 39.51% increase, 40% increase. Without these things, nobody even considered these things. And here's the big one, here's the big one. I have no internet, I have no access to internet. And in spite of the county promising me 3 years to get internet. And I keep reading about it, it's complete, I met with the broadband authority, met with Bill, I met with Jason. I know they have internet than 3 years ago. I couldn't even prepare for this as I wanted, because I wanted charts to show you. I couldn't even prepare for this as I wanted to. I had to do it very elementary and bring it to you. But a friend of mine that's also in real estate told me last year she flat lost the sale of her house for the simple reason the people loved the property, but it didn't have internet access. And she and I'm sure you've heard these stories. She lost the sale of the house for that one reason. And that's what I'm saying. I don't expect to get out of here not paying a tax increase. But I want to be judged, assessed fairly, and I haven't been. Last assessment was just nobody considered this. And then the warehouse that was put in front of my house was just another nail in the coffin for
Yeah.
nothing. And the county allowed it to happen. So I guess it must be legal. If y'all will look at that, remember some of these photos that's been broken into? It's been people staying in the place. I've asked the cops to come look at it a couple of times, and they've never caught anybody over there, but you can tell it's been in there. The windows have been written on, screen windows written on with paint cans and all the things you expect to see in a city somewhere.
Wow.
That's what I got. In my back door, 95 feet from my kitchen window. And the other place the other way. $250,000. He did lower to 80. I don't think it's enough.
yeah.
Seriously, look at it, please.
Oh, no, absolutely, absolutely. Does anybody have any questions before Howard leaves? Howard, I guess the information is still correct, 2320 square foot, sound accurate? 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. The one thing, I guess, I see a note now with your meeting with the assessor, the property next door to you, the derelict house, he did make a note in here, and he gave some economic depreciation for that, but before, I think that was never on your field card for the assessors to note. So next time they do a general assessment, now they'll see that on there and know, hey, up front, there's this issue with this house beside that's affecting his value, but what we'll do is go through and look at everything, considering what you provided to, and look at other properties around, and that's
Let's
a,
see, just, all I ask is to have everything thrown in the mix before you decide I need to be raised $250,000.
Well,
$1
and
million dollars.
it's-
Now,
it's a good point.
I say that wasn't enough, not with what I got to deal with.
We, this assessment, we saw not much change in land values, but improvement values shot up tremendously. And that's based on sales from before, but we've also seen some disparities where some went up more than others without any rhyme or reason to it. So that's what we've,
Would the properties, as you guys assess the place, properties in my area, 4 houses are valued lower than mine, lower than 2 houses are valued more. But the one house, the latest house that sold, actually sold for $390. What did it? Unknown caller. Yeah, I asked Matt to go call. Yeah, so, I'm saying, just look at it fair.
oh, we will, for sure, buddy.
Because it hadn't been happening. Nobody's taking place in this way. And the internet is killing it.
Yeah.
Can't even do business nowadays. Went to the doctor yesterday, couldn't even, they don't even want to talk to me unless it's, you got a my chart.
Yep,
So,
that's right. That's right.
you don't have a my chart, you don't talk to them.
My chart.
Well, you have to have internet to access the my chart, that's
There
right.
you go, there you go.
What have they said? Just promises of it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, far as the internet goes?
Well, the last word I got was the company that was going to supply me with, internet service was bankrupt. So, okay, we're bankrupt, so now what do we do? So, there's Kaiser, that's the head of this, was the head of the broadband, said that, Verizon was gonna take it. Well, that was last year, but they were approaching me, about anything, and they eyes on anybody. And I will fall through the crack, and when next year comes, I still won't have service. But I'll come up here again tomorrow night, see if I can plant another bug again, see, get somebody moving.
That's a shame. I mean, because you see contractors out daily throughout the county running fiber optics
Well,
and,
they came down Lackland Road and got within a mile of my house and stopped, backed everything up and left, because it was, what I understand, it was the end of their franchise territory, I guess. Well, this is all we're gonna be serving down this road, so everything that's chopped up, that's the mess it is. I'm sorry you hadn't heard that.
that's crazy.
Yeah, we gave this place to this company, we gave this piece to this company, and we gave this piece to this company, but.
Even though you could take a stone and throw it from one property to
One
another.
stops and the other starts.
Yeah.
But when whoever served me went bankrupt, then the hell Howard is sitting there, hands up in the air.
Hey, Howard, you using Morse code?
Yeah.
Smoke signals?
Mail didn't work, that doesn't work. Mail doesn't work anymore. All right, y'all.
Thank you, Howard.
Alrighty, thank you.
Tell Pat hi. I love Howard.
Such a trip.
It's interesting that the old one had a 5% functional depreciation.
Yep.
It doesn't say why it was taken off.
Unless they, and then, well, I don't know.
I don't know if that was for the 2 bedrooms or, it was 2,300 square feet.
Oh, he's economic, two-bedroom? And, okay. So he just moved the function, no, physical state at 8, no.
Physical into 20.
Physical went from 8 to 20.
Did away with functional and just threw it all into economic.
Mm-hmm. Y'all want to knock this one out real quick before we do lunch?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do y'all know the actual house at all?
Yeah. We had it listed for some time.
Yeah.
No main floor bedroom, all the bedrooms, the two bedrooms are on the second floor.
There's nothing on the main floor that could be a bedroom?
Kind of a post and beam, a lot of wood in the house. The addition was the creek room facing Fred of Jushin's old boat place right across the way.
Okay,
That's where he lives. Mike Christopher lives right here.
okay,
So Mike's house is kind of this way.
right.
When we had it, it was the layout that didn't work for a lot of people. And really, the views, you've got some views right here. But Mike's property really blocks most of the views there, but that was, he had a pier. He had a 23-foot shamrock, I think there at the pier. Pier was off this side right here. But I do remember last time, I remember he came in about that derelict house next door there.
Yeah.
Must not have done anything, 'cause I didn't see a, usually when the Board of Equalization does something, there's another thing. But it's good that this assessor took that into account. I mean, I could see putting the functional depreciation back at 5 for the two-bedroom layout kind of thing.
Functional at 5, yep.
Excuse me, who condemns property, real property?
I guess the building inspector.
The county does, but it's a hard process is what,
I think he's already talked to the county.
yeah, he's talked, I remember from last time.
Oh. I thought you just go there and put a sign on it and, whatever.
Yeah.
We've got so many old properties just sitting here around
That's
the county,
ridiculous.
everywhere.
You should condemn it and then
The
knock it down.
factor only changed by 1, but it does seem, I don't know, if you don't have much of a view and it's just a little narrow body of water.
Do 100 on factor?
I mean, what do you think with the market? I mean, you haven't tried selling it since COVID, have you?
No, it was before that.
Yeah, I could see a post and beam with a dock, even with, but hard to know what happens when you've got something that dilapidated across from you. But I would think that would sort of play into the factor as well, potentially. But I don't know exactly what to compare it to from an equalization standpoint, or for just sort of, if there's a comp out there that, you know, I could see a 2,300 square foot house in Whitestone with the dock selling for 600, even with the issues. maybe 5% functional and factor to 105. At least helps
Yeah, I'm good with that.
a little bit for those things without,
Should we do anything more for the no internet part? An economic?
I don't know, to me, that's another hard one where there's other places out there without internet. I guess if we're gonna start, kind of like the shared driveway and shared well kind of thing, like it's not great, but I think from an assessment standpoint, that's kind of hard to start getting everybody 5% that doesn't have internet, unless we think that's, it's hard, because I feel like when you're selling a house that doesn't have internet, you can find somebody who's like, oh, I'll use Starlink, or, you find the right person. and
It's more of a
You're not like,
subjective
oh, I would pay
argument.
this for it if it had
Yeah.
internet, but now I'm only gonna pay 5% less because it doesn't. You just have to find somebody who either has a way to get around not
Yeah.
having hardwired internet, or has a job, or, they're looking for a house and they don't care. But it doesn't really kind of factor in. He's probably got a lot of trees around, right? So Starlink.
He does,
isn't-
yeah.
Starlink probably isn't
Probably not an option there.
an option there. I know that's gotten easier for people to get, but if it's all trees and there's nothing.
So y'all want to get a factor from 111 to 105 and then add functional 5%?
Yeah.
Everybody good with
fair.
that?
Yes, sir.
Jan?
Yeah, you think we could wiggle a little bit more on that economic? I mean, Lord knows how long that derelict house has been there and how long it's gonna stay there.
And that is a factor in trying to sell this house.
Absolutely.
So you can either, I think you can get that either on the economic depreciation or the factor, either one. So you want to go down to 100 on factor because of that. Hard to say what that would do. And if you had a 23-foot Shamrock there and it's a decent house, I feel like even with that, you'd be, but, I've not been in there. Obviously, he's tried to sell it before, and all these things have been hard. Maybe I think having a big building like that right on your property line is a negative. That's another reason to go down to factor on 100 instead of 105.
Yeah.
I think you can do it either way with the economic or with the. If we went to a factor of 100, then that would be roughly $50,000, right? And then 5% would be roughly another 25,000 with the functional depreciation.
So proposed factor of 100,
Yeah.
leave physical, give 5% functional and economic. We want to leave that or bump that?
I think if you go to 100 on factor, then it's okay to leave the economic depreciation.
Okay.
Everybody good there?
100 on factor?
And 5%.
5% functional?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, 35,590, factor from 111 down to 100, and add 5% functional depreciation. You said lunch, 10 more minutes? All right.
Is that Andrasco kind of an easy one? It's just a question of what do we do for the ingress egress situation?
Andresco.
I could see how that doesn't really apply to the assessment. He said 30 to 40,000, put a new driveway in, so you sort of try to give Because we're not gonna do anything about the green until we. It's crazy that the address is Fairway Drive when it's not,
Yeah.
legal. I guess that's the question, is it technically considered legal ingress egress since they're allowed to use it? It's crazy that there's not 73%.
And again, it was mostly the improvement value, so,
That does seem quite high for a cottage, right?
Yeah,
What did the last cottage?
it's been a while.
it just sold, Fitzpatrick's just sold.
Yeah,
For
but that
three,
was-
350 or 370?
Yeah, but I think that was distressed, so.
Yeah. Well, factor we could take down.
Okay.
I'd say factor back to 100. I don't know why it was even 110 before.
Right, okay.
So factor of 100. Physical only went up 5%. The home's 34 years old.
Just as a, if I come into other cottages, right, but neighborhood two, doesn't that come into play with the square footage, price per square foot? Neighborhood two is a waterfront neighborhood. I feel like it's almost a off-water neighborhood, and then there's a neighborhood two in the
I think that might be
class two.
a Marlon or Beth question.
Probably doesn't, I don't think we have to worry about it for this one. But yeah, I think factor down to 100 for being. But even if that one was some distress to the sale, I think you'd have a hard time getting,
Yeah, I agree.
it's a big house, goodness.
And then maybe physical up to 30%.
Okay.
Leave the rest the way they are.
Yeah,
I
because
guess
I mean, I
def-
don't know about that whole driveway situation.
I don't think we can really get into that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a mess. So y'all
If
good
all
on
the-
that? Factor of 100 and physical to 30?
Yeah.
Physical 30?
Mm-hmm. All right. 2872D, factor from 116 to 100, and physical depreciation from 20 to 30. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Perfect.
What a nightmare that must be. Jeez Louise.
We'll go have lunch.
Have lunch. Take a quick run.
Put these down too.
Eat fast, take a quick run.